Becky Gannon, and I'm mad about miniatures. Today, I'm talking to Natasha, who is on Instagram as Viva Design Miniatures. Natasha was featured in People magazine for a gorgeous dollhouse she built for her son. She's also the lucky owner of 20 vintage dollhouses, and she has big plans for them. Let's go talk to Natasha. Hello, Natasha. It's so great to have you with me today.
Hi, Becky. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to talking to you.
I am so looking forward to talking to you too. You have just come onto the scene in a pretty short amount of time and just racked up lots of views, done lots of dollhouses.
Oh, thank you.
So one of the things I really noticed was you have like 20 vintage dollhouses. I have like 4 or 5, and people are always like, how did you find so many? You really found a treasure trove.
I did. And it was completely by coincidence, a word of mouth situation. I wasn't really looking for them. And I actually almost lost out on all of the dollhouses.
No.
Yeah, I got the information for somebody in the same town that my mom lives in. She was looking to get rid of all of her dollhouses. And she's elderly. She had been looking for years to try to sell them. And she had a huge collection. She had a lot of Bestpak furniture and artisan made furniture. She's originally from California, so she had collected a ton of stuff. And when I got her phone number, I just kind of let it go. I wasn't expecting her to have the collection that she ended up having. So I got her information in May, and I didn't contact her until Labor Day. So several months later. And I finally went to see her collection and was just completely floored when I walked into her house.
And these are all wood dollhouses, the good stuff.
Yeah, she started collecting dollhouses in the 90s and early 2000s. So majority of her dollhouses are solid wood, very unique pieces that you don't see often. There are a couple of MDF houses that are still available, but the majority are all solid wood.
That is really a treasure trove.
For sure. It's definitely what I feel like is a once in a lifetime find.
Yes.
I'm just so lucky that I was able to purchase it because she really wanted to sell everything together. And I am really not a collector I don't want to have everything and keep everything. So I wasn't interested in all of the furniture, and, her furniture pieces are very valuable. So I definitely was not comfortable spending that much money on all of the collection and all of the little pieces. But I was able to find a buyer for just the furniture. And then she contacted me a few weeks later and made me an offer to buy the rest of the houses, and I jumped.
Oh, that's so lucky. People always ask me, where do you find your doll houses? Because I've kind of had some good luck too of, one house someone found on a curb and dragged it over to me. People tell me that things are on Facebook Marketplace, or some of my friends work in like estate sales, and they'll let me know. So my best advice to people is let everyone know you're looking, don't you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. I like to go to estate sales anyway, and there's a few companies in my area. So I've given them my information. If they come across a dollhouse, just give me a call, because a lot of times they don't know what they have or what the value is, or, the family, if the person has already passed, they're ready to just throw it away. So I'm like, let me have first dibs. I'll come take a look, please. And that's actually worked out for me too.
Exactly. Just have to let everyone know that you're willing to come do a rescue.
Yeah, for sure. And you just have to be patient. I have very specific criteria for a dollhouse if I'm going to pick it up. So sometimes it'll take months to find exactly what you're looking for. And you may have to drive. Well, I don't have to drive. My husband will go drive for me to pick up a dollhouse. But you just have to have a lot of patience and just keep looking.
You do. It sounds like you want them to be all wood. Anything else they have to have?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the green leaf houses. I know that's a great starter house, and they do have some great layouts. I just personally don't love the construction, especially if I'm normally buying a house that somebody else has already assembled, and I don't find that those assemble well, especially for a beginner. So I try to avoid those houses. And they are solid wood, but they're thin. So my favorite is a solid wood construction that's the 3/8 inch thick wood. And I like really big houses. So the bigger, the better, and unique layouts. And I love a tall ceiling in a dollhouse.
Oh, I do too. I am really constrained in some of my doll houses for the furniture, especially the beds and everything, and that upper floor, because so often it's got that slanted attic. Yes, and I'm tired of that. I don't want any more like that.
Yes. Yes, I love tall ceilings in a real house, and I love it even more in a dollhouse. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility for what you can style and what furniture you can add and, what detailing you can add to a ceiling. So I like at least a 10-inch ceiling. I'll settle for 9.5, but I definitely don't like the dollhouses that have the 8-inch ceilings.
You're actually pretty lucky you like the big ones, because I found out early on in my miniature journey that the big ones don't sell as well. Yeah,
Yes.
I went to, there's this big toy store that also has dollhouses. I can't remember its name, but it has like a Noah's Ark. It's in Colorado in front of it. And you have to enter through the ark to get in it or something. And I went in there, and she had all the dollhouses in the basement from estate sales and everything. She took me down there. And I don't know if at that point, I mean, she had one that was like 8 foot by 6 foot or something. I mean, I think that one had come from like the Smithsonian, but she had these huge dollhouses. And then there were 2 smaller ones. And she said, I'll sell the big ones cheaper to you than the small ones.
Oh my gosh, I believe it. They take up a ton of space.
And I wanted a big one so badly, but we had driven there. We just couldn't get it back. So we tried every angle for one of them. So if you do have the space, I think you can sometimes really get a good deal on the bigger ones, because people just don't have the room, or it just seems ridiculous to them at this point to have that big a dollhouse.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. And even I notice the bigger ones start out at a really high price on Facebook Marketplace or, an estate sale, and they'll sit because no one has the room for them. So they definitely will come down in price significantly if you just wait a little bit.
Yes. But they're fabulous. They're so fabulous.
Oh, they're so grand. The grander, the better. I love them.
So one of the things I really noticed is you post like every other day, sometimes more. And every day,
yes,
you have done so much in between. You're like,
yes.
Oh, so I've, repaired the floors and, painted the walls and whipped up some furniture. So I guess I'm really impressed and a little jealous about that. How much time every day do you spend on filming and building your dollhouses?
It really depends. This year, I am trying to take a step back because last year I just was completely immersed and obsessed with working nonstop. So I'm trying to do better this year. But for the majority of the time, I'm spending close to 6 or 7 hours a day working and filming. And I don't really have a traditional Monday to Friday work schedule. My husband's a firefighter, so his days off vary during the week. So I try to align my time off with his time off. And so sometimes I'm working weekends. Sometimes if he's on duty and my kids are asleep and, I'm home alone, then I'll just work several hours at night too. So it really just depends. But I do spend a lot more time than most people do because I'm treating this as a full-time job now.
Right. And people work long hours at their full-time jobs.
Yeah, exactly. And, I've spent the last year really building my brand. So it's a lot more time consuming than people realize, because not only am I working on the dollhouse and the projects, I'm also filming and editing, and now I'm filming for YouTube as well. So it's very time consuming for sure.
The first thing people learn when they start this, that I get these reactions all the time. Like, I love doing it, but it takes a lot longer than I thought. And that's about the dollhouse. And then, there's a lot of people who don't put as much online as we do. And, they'll say, oh, well, it just takes so long. And I'm like, I know. Believe me, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Sometimes
for sure.
I try not to even time myself filming and editing because it just kind of depresses me.
I know. And I still feel very new to editing and creating content. And it still takes me quite a while to edit a video. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I could have finished 3 dollhouses in the time it took me to finish one if I wasn't filming and editing at the same time.
But I do love how you bring us all along on your journey. You even say, should I do this or should I do that? Which is very brave of you. And because people will tell you, right?
Yes, they're very, very opinionated. I will say majority of people are invested for all of the right reasons. And I do enjoy getting their feedback because I don't think that I am the design expert. I have the vision and I have the ideas, but sometimes somebody will have a better idea than I do. And I love to be able to incorporate what my audience would like to see if I can. Sometimes they're very specific and I'm like, I don't know who you think I am. I cannot make that, but I do my best.
I noticed that the hardest suggestions come from people who don't do miniatures.
For sure, for sure. It'll be something completely outrageous. And I'm like, I'm just staring like blankly at my screen, like, how do you think I could do that?
Like, oh, that would be really cool. Can you teach me?
Right.
Yes, but it is nice to have people so interested.
Yeah, it definitely is a lot more popular than I expected it to be. I didn't think that this many people would enjoy watching my content, but there are a lot of people that love it. So as long as people love it, I'm just going to keep working and producing.
So this Christmas, you were actually in People magazine.
Yes, that was a total surprise to me as well.
How did that happen?
I think because the dollhouse build that I was working on, which was the giant dollhouse for my son that I built from scratch, I think the popularity of that video online, and I think also the controversy of a dollhouse being for a boy really drew attention from the media. So people reached out to me and asked if they could write an article about the dollhouse that I was building for my son, Evan.
It is a great story because, first of all, you built an entire dollhouse from scratch in 3 weeks. Am I right? Was it 3 weeks?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I don't know what I was thinking.
I mean, I literally was trying to think how I would do that. Like, I'm like, so day one, I do this. I couldn't come up with a plan that would work.
It really was so challenging, especially with the short timeline. And I've never built a huge dollhouse like that from scratch. And I had some very specific requirements for it. So I really just broke it down step by step and worked, like, just focused on one thing per day. So, day one was figuring out what I wanted my design to be and then building it from there.
And let's just tackle it head on. Why did you think your 15-year-old son would want a dollhouse?
Well, my son, Evan, which I've shared online, has special needs. He was born with a condition called hypoplastic left heart syndrome. So essentially, his whole left side of his heart was not developed. So Evan has had multiple open heart surgeries. The first one, he was only 8 days old. He had a brain bleed, which has caused him significant developmental delays his whole life. And Evan has been in physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, all of the therapies for his entire life. And there's a lot of play therapy involved with kids. I just thought, and my husband did as well, we had talked about it over the summer. Wouldn't it be great for Evan to have his own dollhouse that we could use for his dolls? And he has some baseball players. He loves baseball. He has some bobbleheads. And like, that would be perfect. Those are the perfect size for a dollhouse. And he could practice his skills. And it just kind of, we were just snowballing ideas off of each other of how great it could be for Evan for therapy play.
I think that's genius. I mean, does he love it?
He does. He loves it. He has his dolls in there now and it's themed for him. It was custom for him. So all of the details, speak to Evan and what is in our life and things that he enjoys. So it's something that's he could immediately recognize that I know these things.
Well, so does he have a favorite sports team? Tell us about some of the touches you put in.
So the second room that I did was what I call Evan's room, and it's completely themed for the Tampa Bay Rays. That's Evan's favorite team. He loves baseball. He loves all sports, but baseball is his number one. So Evan is actually, we joke, he's named after Evan Longoria, who is one of the OG Rays players and was really popular on the team when my son was born. So Evan loves Evan, which is why on his little TV that's in his room, there's a clip from like a really popular, I'm not a sports person, so I don't know all of the details. That's for Evan and my husband, but there's a really iconic clip of Evan Longoria scoring a home run, in this playoff game. So that's why I added that clip in his room because Evan loves Evan so much. And then I just added some of like the mascots and
it's actually a moving video on a little TV.
Yeah, it is. A friend of mine actually gave me that miniature TV because I love miniatures. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can upload my own clips. So I was able to upload a clip from YouTube on, like, you can load 50 videos onto these little TVs.
That is so cool, Natasha.
I know. It actually, I didn't even show it in any of the videos, but it has a little working remote that can change the channel too.
Is there a particular brand because I know people are going to ask me about this.
There is, and I think it's called Tiny Circuit. I know when I originally looked, they were out of stock, but I think it's, Tiny Circuits. It's just tinysircuits.com, and they make miniature TVs and miniature screens and all kinds of cool gadgets.
That's great.
Yeah, it's because it plays all on its own, and you can plug it in to recharge it, and you can change the channel, adjust the volume. It's really the coolest little thing.
That is amazing. And did you get some other things? Did you recreate his own bedroom or?
I did. So Evan has an IKEA bedroom set. So I was able to find that model online and I 3D printed the exact same furniture he has, a different color, but the same style furniture. And we added, a sister's room. So he has a big sister, my daughter. And so we added her favorite things in there so that he could recognize, that was her space as well. And I tried to add as many things to the house that I could think of that would resonate with Evan to where he could recognize it in his real life as well.
And it's big, right? The rooms are big. And so probably that gives him a little room if his motor skills need a little, extra help.
Exactly. Some people had asked why not just renovate one of the houses I already have to give to him. And, those are a little bit more delicate and they're not as kid friendly as Evan needs. He does struggle significantly with fine motor skills and he needs a lot more room. So I was able to customize these 1/12 scale rooms to be not true to scale. They're a little bit bigger, but that was intentional so that Evan had more room to move his hands in without worrying about knocking things over or not having enough space to maneuver.
Having raised two boys, I think all boys need things that aren't too delicate.
Yeah. Oh, that's the truth for sure.
So let's talk about, you got some crazy hate on the internet, which I just don't really get, for making a dollhouse for a boy. Your son.
I did. And I really was surprised, honestly. I think the dollhouse that I made for Evan is amazing in its own right, but I didn't think that it was anything spectacular. And when it started gaining popularity, I'm not downplaying what I've created because I did make something really beautiful for my kid. But when I see, these vintage dollhouses that I have, for example, and all of the detailing, and they're so amazing. So when this dollhouse started going bananas online, I was really surprised. And it was almost split 50-50, where some people were just so impressed and some people were so angry that it was for my son. I don't think it would have mattered if I said, and every single time I mentioned that it was for my special needs son, because even in the comments when, my audience, some of my followers would correct them and say, hey, do you realize what this is for? It's to help him with life skills and fine motor skills. And they didn't care. Some people just want to be angry about everything, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That makes me sad. I also don't really understand it. For one thing you learn quickly as a content creator is the people who write you hate things, they're helping your algorithm.
Oh, yeah.
You think they wouldn't want to do that favor to you.
Yeah, I don't think they think that through, that the more they comment and reply to comments, and the more my video is going to get pushed out.
Exactly. And the more the algorithm will show them things like that. So now they probably have a whole feed of dollhouses.
Oh, I forgot all about that. That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy to think that all they were getting was, for at least a day, is nothing but dollhouse content.
And maybe dollhouses for boys, I'm hoping.
Oh my gosh, I hope so. Oh yeah, it just is so silly. The majority of these dollhouses were built by grown men.
And there are some fabulous miniaturists that I'm friends with that are men.
Oh yes, they're fantastic. They do such great work. It's just so silly.
The other thing I was thinking about is it's a house, and women aren't the only one who lives in houses. Men and women both live in houses. So what is it about that as a toy that we think that it just has to be men? And I'm going to throw out something here, and, people don't have to agree with me. But I read recently that even households where women are the primary breadwinner, they still do something like 70 or 80% of the child rearing and house cleaning. And I'm not saying it all starts with them being ashamed to be in a dollhouse, but I'm not saying that doesn't contribute either.
I agree completely. I think a lot of people would be surprised because there were, a lot of people with sons. I would never let my son play with the dollhouse. And I'm thinking, if they went to a children's museum or a play museum or, a cousin's house, I bet you while they were in there playing, they're playing in the dollhouse too. It's just natural. It's fun. It's imaginative play. They can create all kinds of scenarios. I mean, I agree that if more men played with dollhouses when they were younger, or, had more girl cousins and sisters and whatever around, they'd probably be better spouses in the future.
I mean, it's a house. It's intrinsically neutral when you think about it.
Oh, I know. And I like the comments I was getting, you would think that I was forcing my son to play with it, or, I don't know. The whole thing was just wild to me.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. It's hard. The other thing I think is funny is there's many things on the internet I don't like. And I assume that everyone feels that way. I mean, the internet's full of a lot of crazy things. And if it's not for me, I just move on. It doesn't occur to me to stop and spew that. It's really none of my business. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I would spend my entire day writing comments if I wanted to make sure that everybody knew any video I saw that I didn't like. If I made sure that it was known, I would spend my entire day writing comments. I would have no time to do anything else. I just can't imagine
what a waste.
Feeling so strongly about it that I have to say something.
And they can feel strongly about their own kid, but why do they feel strongly about yours?
Right.
I know. I think one thing about, getting a more active Instagram, getting a lot of followers, is you do get some crazy comments. And they are kind of crazy. I think I shared with you that I showed slicing a clay chicken that Pat from Twin Heart Minis had made. Very realistic looking. And I got quite a few comments about why I was eating a hummingbird.
Oh my gosh. I
was just like, it's kind of crazy. And I just try not to really think about it too much.
You're going to have Twin Hearts Minis make you a hummingbird that you can slice open just to troll your commenters.
That is so genius. So one thing you and I talked about is how you started. And it's really a pretty powerful story about why you started and what making these dollhouses has done for you. Can you share that for us?
Sure. So I have loved miniatures my entire life. I've had dollhouses when I was younger. I have two sisters, an older and a younger sister. We always had dollhouses, a variety. My dad built us a dollhouse. We had a huge like 6 foot long by 3 feet wide on Castor's dollhouse. And it really wasn't a part of my life after I was a child, after I'd grown up. It wasn't a part of my life at all until the last couple of years. And I was diagnosed with cancer in 2023. And it really just wrecked my world.
Of course.
And it seems, I'm going to say it seems silly to me because I have already experienced so much hardship, especially medically with my son for the past 15 years. So when I got that diagnosis for myself, it just wrecked me in a way that I wasn't expecting. And I felt like I have all of this experience dealing with hard diagnosis. This shouldn't affect me the way that it was. And it was really like the most challenging year of my entire life. And it was really hard for me to endure, for my family. And after I finished, I had surgery and chemo and radiation. After I finished all of my treatment, I was happy to be through it and, in remission and relatively healthy, still dealing with the after effects of treatment. And I just couldn't bring myself out of that depression and funk that I was in. Like I still felt so down, and when I should have been like just ecstatic.
No, wait a minute. There's no shoulds when you have a cancer diagnosis. We put so much pressure on ourselves to be so brave and so gracious, but that's not how it always works.
That's so true.
It is. And also, I'm going to say another thing. I bet one of the reasons that you reacted so strongly is it just wasn't about you. It was about, am I going to be there for my kids?
For sure. Definitely.
And that's a whole nother level.
Yeah. And, I have been so strong for my son for so long and an advocate and, never wavering. I was a pillar. And then to have no control over what's happening and what will happen, it really is. It changes your life forever, for sure.
Yeah, so I don't want to hear that you should have just popped back up and been perky and made cookies.
Yeah, and part of that is just from seeing other people and how, I have a really, really close friend of mine. She still has cancer and going through her journey and everything, but she is so strong and positive and joyous, and just I saw the way she handled it, and I saw the way other people were handling it, and it just, I don't know, I just couldn't do it. And it's okay. It was my own journey. We all process in our own way, and I'm fine with that. It just, for me, I just didn't know why I was still so depressed and I couldn't find joy. So I started, reevaluating everything in my life and trying to figure out what was going to make me happy. What can I do to rediscover who I am and, live a happy life, because I'm healthy, I'm well now, and I want to enjoy my time and have something for me as well. So I started doing various things and got back into some DIYs. I've always been a DIY girly. My husband and I have remodeled several houses, and we did a couple of flip houses, and I love decorating, which I think you can see in my doll houses. I love interior decorating and design. And so I started that in real life, but it's not an easy thing to do when you have a full-time job as a caretaker for your kids as well. So we let that go. And then I started a DIY studio with a friend, and it was so much fun. Loved every second of it. We really had just got it going, and we offered classes, and people could come in and do, some crafts and make their own candles and that type of thing. And then shortly after we opened our doors, I found out I already knew I had a tumor on my kidney, unrelated to my first cancer, ironically. Oh. And it just happened to be found at the exact same time, which probably contributed to why I was so down. Like, I eat well and I exercise and I take care of myself, and why is all of this happening?
Oh, it definitely contributed.
I had another tumor pop up and I ended up needing a partial nephrectomy. And I just said, I have to step away from this business. I cannot run this full time anymore. So I had surgery. And then after I recovered, I was right back in that same spot of just trying to find joy in my life again and started making miniatures. And, I loved the dollhouse part and the decorating part and decided, I wonder if I could take this dollhouse that I've been toting around for years. My mom picked up a dollhouse in a yard sale. I guess it's been 25 years ago now. And she had been toting it around. And then I took it about 10 years ago and said, oh, I'm going to do something with it. And I said, I bet you I could post this on social media. Maybe somebody else would want to watch me make this, dollhouse come to life. And the rest is really history from there.
Wow, that is a powerful story. I mean, I'm always amazed how much working with your hands and making these miniatures can really do for people. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are ill, that need the distraction. It provides so much for so many people that something that seems like it's just a little hobby can really change your life.
I think that we as people in general don't realize how much having a hobby of any kind, anything that you enjoy doing, can really change your life and it can bring joy to your life. And it's just something that I just don't think that we realize how powerful a hobby can be.
I totally agree. And I've said this before, people, if you want to carve out time to exercise or have a side hustle, people are all for it. But sometimes it doesn't make sense to people, especially if it's, kind of an odd hobby like dollhouse.
Yeah. Isn't that so funny how we allow people to have space in their life for things that are for health or for work or, to earn an income, but we don't allow people to do something that is just purely for enjoyment in their life. Like we can make it acceptable for someone to sit down and watch a TV for 3 hours, but we, snicker behind their backs if they're working on a dollhouse for 3 hours. So funny.
It's kind of insane when you put it that way, Natasha.
I have a lot of time to think up here by myself. Can you tell?
Me too.
Yeah, when you really think about it, it makes you question everything.
It does. It does. You feel a little subversive saying, I don't care what you think. I'm going to spend my attention, some money, some time, my intelligence, and I'm going to spend it on this. And if you think that's crazy, well, move on.
Yeah, for sure.
I think especially with dollhouses, because it's more known as a craft than an art, it's sort of double duty, that it's doubly hard for people to understand.
Yes, for sure. And the miniature world really is so small, figuratively speaking as well. It is so small. And there's just there's not as many people in the real world, in my real world at least, that are into it. So it does seem strange to other people.
Well, it has gained so much popularity though. And I think the one thing I love about the internet is it has been a boon to people like us who like something that only a few people like. Without the internet, I don't think I could have friends in Portugal or have met all the people that I have.
Right, definitely.
Wow, we're really hitting some big topics here.
I hope you were ready to dive in.
Always.
I have a hard time keeping anything surface level.
I love that. That was one of the things I loved when we talked before. I was like, let's get into it. Let's get down. So everyone at home, make yourself a second cup of coffee because we're still going at it. So it did seem to help. It gave you back your joy.
It did. I wonder often if I would have circled back to dollhouses if it weren't for cancer. So being able to have something so beautiful in my life now grow from something so tragic, it really just feels amazing.
That is. Now here's something kind of light, but I got to address it. Probably if everyone listening to the podcast, and if you don't know, I'm about to tell you.
I'm ready.
Knows that I love teal. I love teal with an intense passion that is irrational. For some reason, when I look at it, I feel better. So I actually, people would comment on how much teal I had in my dollhouses. And so I actually started a Teal Tuesday where every week if you find some minis and you got a little touch of teal in there, and tag me, I will put it up on my stories. And hopefully you'll get some viewers out of it.
Yeah.
I was looking through, stalking your feed so we could have a good interview. And I saw this. You said, when people ask me what color to paint it, I say dark green. When people say what color will go with something, I say dark green. And that's how I feel about teals.
It's just your happy color. Dark green makes me smile. And I think it's such a perfect neutral. And I can see that being true for teal too.
Yes. And there are so many shades of teal too, that you can kind of, if the blue teal doesn't work, you can kind of move it a little green.
Yeah.
In fact,
I love that.
I do get a lot of questions about, is this teal enough for Teal Tuesday? And I'm just going to tell you, I was not put on earth to become the teal police.
You weren't expecting the teal queen title?
I think I could still retain the title of teal queen and not limit the teal. So if you've got something in the blue-green area, I will share it. The only thing I will not do is someone sent me something maroon once, and I just couldn't find a way to do that.
Oh, that's so funny.
I think it must have been a translation issue. That's all I can understand. So we're going to have like a dark green day in honor of you or something.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me this. What's your favorite tool? The tool you can't live without?
Oh, man. That's a really hard one.
Okay. You can do 2 or 3.
Okay. So for my top 2 that I could not live without is a plain old X-Acto knife.
Yes.
With fresh blades. It has to have fresh blades.
It does.
And miter shears, because I use those for everything. All the things, even on things I'm not supposed to use them for.
Really? Like what?
Oh, floral wire, and I use them like they're scissors and snips at the same time because they're always out. So I just pick them up to do everything with. So oh my gosh, I'm so bad. Don't listen. Don't do what I do if you're listening. If I've already got fresh glue on a piece of wood, I'll still cut it with my miter shears and then have to clean all the glue off of my blade.
I do that with X-Acto knives. So hard to wait for glue to dry.
Yeah.
So what's your third one?
If I had to pick a third tool, I'm looking at my tool wall right now. Can I pick a machine?
Absolutely.
I'm picking a laser machine for sure. It has made my life so much easier. And I know it's a privilege to be able to have a laser machine and work with miniatures, but I love it. Love it.
Well, I don't think you could have made that dollhouse in 3 weeks without it.
Oh, no. I mean, I probably could have, but no, I couldn't because I used my 3D printers to make a lot of the furniture because I wanted it to be really durable for a kid. But I definitely would not have had straight lines that perfectly lined up on the first try if I had to cut it out with a regular saw.
Yes, I believe that. And what's your favorite glue? People always want to know that.
99% of the time, I'm picking up the Beacon 3-in-1 craft glue. And I know a lot of people don't love it. Yeah, it's quite stringy. It can be quite stringy, but I just think it sets really quickly but it doesn't set fast enough that you can't adjust it. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, but you are the first person to ever recommend that glue as your favorite.
I was listening to your podcast episodes this week, and I almost picked the Gorilla Glue gel with the green lid too. And that's my second favorite, but my first is for sure the Beacon 3-in-1.
The funny thing about having a favorite glue is once you're miniatures, you can really have like 4 favorite glues.
Those are like my top 2. If I'm not using the Beacon 3-in-1, I'm probably using the Gorilla Glue Super Glue Gel.
I think that was Jonathan.
It was, yeah, that was his favorite too.
They can't even keep it in the stores near him in New York. He buys it all out. So tell me about these. How many of the 20 vintage dollhouses have you made?
I have only made it through, really only partially through one of them so far, because I was still working on other projects when I wasn't expecting to have that many dollhouses. So I was already working on some other dollhouses in the meantime, but I'm working on the very first one right now. And then I have them all in storage in a climate controlled storage unit because they're too big to keep at my house. And I have 2 that I brought to my studio last week. And those 2 I think are going to be next up. But I also have the 3rd one in here is the big Jim Marcus Russian Embassy dollhouse that is stunning in video, but even more stunning in real life.
And some of them are in a little bit rough shape, aren't they?
They all are, actually. I don't think any of them are in, I really haven't even like closely inspected every single one. And, once you really start looking at it, you can start to see some damage and what else needs to be fixed. But none of them are in really great condition. They're all definitely from somebody who collected too many too fast and, worked on too many at one time. So none of them really got finished. So they're all in need of repair, which is how I like it. I love a dollhouse that needs to be repaired.
Then you're in luck.
Yeah.
You're the luckiest girl I know that.
I definitely feel like that. I definitely feel like I'm the luckiest girl with my dollhouse haul.
So is this a lifetime haul? How long do you think, 20, one a year? That's 20 years. I mean, not that you won't live longer, but are you going to go through them every 3 months? What do you anticipate?
That's my goal. And there are a couple that I think I'm just going to go ahead and rehome because they're not the style that I would like to work on. And I've just come to find that, especially after my haunted house dollhouse that I did in October, I don't enjoy working on some types of houses and I don't want to make myself do that again. So there are a few that they're not for me and I'll rehome those. So I expect that I'll end up keeping maybe 15 to work on. And I would like to get through at least 3 this year. So
okay,
we'll see. Don't hold me to that.
No. No, you're not making a promise, just an estimate, right?
Yes.
And what will you sell these then?
I will sell some of them. I will probably keep 2. I have one for sure that I'm keeping, and then I'm toying between a couple of the other ones that really speak to me that I don't think I'll ever find again. So I might keep one of those 2. And then the rest I'll sell off. And then I might give a couple more away. We'll see.
Oh, it's like to children's charities or...
Yeah. So I gave away the Harbor Haven to an individual with intellectual disability. And that was my intention, was to be able to just give them all away. But that process was not great. And I'll save everybody a long story. I think I need to go through a legitimate nonprofit to give away in the future. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll reserve those for Make-A-Wish or, Ronald McDonald House, that type of thing. Those are 2 charities that my family has been fortunate enough to, Evan received a Make-A-Wish when he was younger, and we've stayed at the Ronald McDonald House several times. I think those are 2 fabulous organizations. So I'll definitely do something for them in the future if they ever, have someone that wishes for a dollhouse, or if they ever want one for a silent auction or something.
I thought about that too. At some point my husband and I might downsize, and I won't have all my kids' old bedrooms to put things in. But I'll still want to make them. And I think that would be a great way to do it. And I've been thinking about maybe even starting before then, because after a while, unless I want to start my own museum, it's a little crazy, right?
Right. Yeah. And, I'm the type of person, a lot of people asked me when I was giving away the Harbor Haven, like, aren't you so sad? And I'm like, no, when I finish a project, I almost never want to see it again. Like, get it out of here. And I'm ready to move on to the next thing. So, for a lot of people, especially if you don't have the space, I don't have the space to have 20 dollhouses completed in my house. So, do something with them. And I think there's a lot of organizations that would love to, auction them off for charity and to, to raise money for their organization, or, Make-A-Wish or something.
I've been thinking about that. I think there are some arts organizations too for young people that are active in my community. I've been thinking of looking into that.
Yeah, that would be fabulous. I think that's a great idea.
I know you don't have room for 20 finished dollhouses because you don't have room for 20 unfinished dollhouses, right? You had to rent storage space.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So do you have some goals for this year?
My goal for this year is to just find a little bit better life balance. Honestly, that's my number one goal because I just have that personality that is all consuming in whatever I'm interested in. I really want to spend a little bit more time with my family this year. So I'm going to step back a little bit in my content creation, not so much in the dollhouses, but I do have a better work schedule now. So my goal is to get through 3 houses. Plus, I haven't announced this yet. I'm working on the Russian embassy, and that will be my year-long project. So my goal is to have that Jim Marcus Russian embassy dollhouse completed by the end of this year. And so that'll be my fun project that's just for me and something I enjoy doing. So that's my goal is 3 big dollhouses plus the Russian embassy. And then I want to do some more shows. I'm definitely going to Chicago. I want to go to Philadelphia again. I might throw, maybe I'll find an international one that lines up with a time that I can step away. So that's the goal this year.
Well, I think I know I work on my work-life balance every day, and I too get obsessed with things. So I understand that struggle. But tell me a little more about this breaking news you had about the Russian embassy dollhouse.
Well, I really toyed around with keeping it or selling it because it is massive. And I don't think that the video really captures just how big this dollhouse is.
How big is it?
It stands like 80 inches tall. I can't even put the top part of the tower on because it touches the tray ceiling in my studio.
No.
It's huge. We had to build a different base for it. It came with a taller base. My husband had to make a small one, and we had to put smaller wheels on it for it to fit up here. It's just so big.
Is it wide and deep too?
It's about 3 feet wide and 3 feet deep, and then like 80 inches tall. So she's a big girl for sure.
How many rooms?
It only has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms, really. 6 rooms.
But they're big.
Yeah, they're all big, which is part of the reason why I decided to keep it for myself. I am going to make it my content house. So whenever I have something new that I've purchased from another miniature artist, or I want to showcase something, I have these like perfectly decorated rooms for that. So it's going to be my content house. It's really it's a really beautiful to see, but it's not really a functional dollhouse, if that makes sense.
I understand. And you call it the Russian embassy. Is that the name of it?
Yeah. So this Jim Marcus house, I believe it is one of 10. And this one, I have all the paperwork for it. And it was built in 1979 by Jim Marcus. He was famous dollhouse guru and had a really long wait list. People would wait a year to get one of these Russian embassy dollhouses. And the house that it was modeled after is in San Francisco. I believe it's called the William Westerfeld House. And it's still there in San Francisco. It's painted green. It's really beautiful. It's been like expertly restored, so it's gorgeous. But it was nicknamed the Russian Embassy because at one point it was owned by Russians, and they had a club that was famous on the basement level. So the house is still nicknamed the Russian Embassy, and this dollhouse is also nicknamed the Russian Embassy.
And will it be dark green?
I don't know yet. We'll have to see. This is going to be one of those very controversial dollhouses because if people love the way that it looks already, and the original construction of it was made white. So it's going to be one of those things where people will probably not be happy with whatever I do if I stray from the original features. I'm definitely not going to reconstruct anything. It needs a little bit of rehabbing. So, but I love dark green, and my studio cabinets are dark green. So we'll see.
Well, I think it's good for people to get invested, want something, and not get it, because that's life.
Yeah, I'm just teaching everyone life lessons. That's all it is.
Exactly. I think that's a service to them. Well, Natasha, it's been an absolute delight having you on the show. I'm so glad we did this, and I just love everything you're doing. I really admire how you handle life, and to me, you've handled so many situations with grace. I just want to say that.
Oh, thank you.
And I really love too that you're so open to tell us like what this has meant to you, because it's hard. It's hard to open up sometimes. And it's meant a lot to me too.
Yeah, it really is. It can be such a beautiful hobby. And I hope that, people can hear my story. And if they're dealing with the same thing or struggling to find their own joy again, maybe they dabble in miniatures and that helps spark some joy back into their life too.
And even if it's not miniatures, we forgive you.
Yeah.
Not you, but
Yeah.
if this sparks your idea to go out and press mini flowers or whatever, find that and do that.
Yeah, find a hobby that brings you joy and it can drastically change your quality of life.
It really has for me. Well, thank you again, and let's keep in touch. I can't wait to see how you do this year with your very ambitious agenda of 3 houses plus one. That's 4, right?
I know. Oh, thank you so much for having me, Becky. It was so fun talking with you today.
I really enjoyed talking to you. It's been a delight, and thank you for sharing, and have a great day and keep making those beautiful dollhouses.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed talking to Natasha as much as I did. If you liked the podcast, please think about leaving a review or a comment on my Instagram. It means a lot to me, and it's how the show continues to grow. Until next time, remember, there are no rules in your dollhouse except those you create for yourself. Bye-bye.